The forest was not silent, but it felt empty. The human soldier, Daniel, walked slowly through the alien woods, his boots crunching against the strange purple moss. Above him, tall twisted trees blocked the fading light of the twin suns. Long, vines hung like snakes and the air smelled of wet stone and iron. Daniel had been on patrol for hours. He was far from the human outpost, farther than he should have gone. But something had pulled him deeper. The forest was dangerous. Rumors spoke of hunters who laid traps not only for animals but also for the careless. Still, he moved forward, alert, his hand resting near his sidearm. Then it came. A sound, sharp and sudden, cutting through the thick alien air. A cry, high and desperate, not like an animal's scream but like a child's voice. "Help, please." Daniel froze. His instincts told him to be careful. Many soldiers before him had fallen into traps designed with sound, voices used as bait to lure in prey. But this voice, it had pain in it, raw and trembling. A voice too real to ignore. He scanned the trees, raising his rifle. His heart pounded, the forest seemed to hold its breath, shadows shifted, the cry came again, weaker this time. "Help my mom. Someone help." A child, Daniel thought. His chest tightened. He remembered Earth long ago when he had seen children cry in war. He had sworn never to walk away from a voice like that again. He moved quickly, boots sinking into the soft moss. His eyes darted left and right, every shadow a threat, he whispered to himself. Not a trap, please. Branches snapped ahead, and then he saw her. A small alien girl, no more than 8 or 9 by human measure. Her skin was pale blue with faint silver markings glowing across her arms. Her hair was dark, falling wild around her face, and her large, golden eyes glistened with tears. She was barefoot, shaking, and when she saw him, she ran forward. "You, human," she cried, her tiny hands reaching out. "Help my mom. She's trapped. She'll die." Daniel stared, stunned. The child's features were strange, alien, yet the desperation on her face was something deeply human. He lowered his weapon slightly, still cautious. "Where?" he asked, his voice steady. She grabbed his arm with surprising strength for her size. Her fingers were cold, trembling. "This way. Please, hurry." He let her pull him, though every step forward felt like stepping into the jaws of danger. His training screamed, never follow into unknown ground. Yet his heart whispered, a child would not fake tears like these. The forest grew, darker, the light fading fast. Daniel's nerves were on fire, every shadow felt alive. He scanned the ground, knowing snares could be hidden. "Who's after her?" he asked as they ran. The girl's voice broke. "Hunters. They set traps. They want her. They'll come back soon." Daniel's stomach tightened. Hunters. He had heard of them. Savage aliens who hunted others for sport. Their traps were infamous, cruel, and unbreakable. At last, they reached a clearing, and Daniel's breath caught. There, in the center, was a figure. The alien woman lay twisted inside a massive snare made of steel and bone. The device looked alive, its metal pieces shifting with every movement she made. The more she struggled, the tighter it pulled, cutting into her flesh. Dark blood stained the moss beneath her. The child screamed and rushed to her mother's side. "Mom, I found someone. I found a human. He'll help." The woman's eyes opened, golden like her daughter's but dim with pain. She lifted her head weakly. Her voice was soft but urgent. "No. Run, child. Leave me." Daniel stepped closer, his rifle raised, scanning the edges of the clearing. His soldier's instinct screamed that eyes were watching, that they were not alone. The woman's gaze fell on him. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Human, you should not be here. They will come back." The girl clutched his arm tighter, tears streaming down her glowing cheeks. "Please, you can save her, please." Daniel's mind raced. He had walked into something dangerous, far beyond his orders, but he could not walk away now, not with a child begging him, not with a mother dying in front of her. He knelt near the snare, eyes narrowing as he studied its design. The metal was alien, twisting with strange energy. It pulsed as if alive. tightening when the woman moved. The smell of blood and rust filled the air. He whispered to himself, "Savage hunters, cruel bastards." The girl's small hand pressed against his. "Please, hurry." Daniel met her golden eyes, and in that moment, he made his choice. He would help, no matter what waited in the shadows of this cursed forest. But as he reached for the trap, a sound echoed through the trees, the snap of a branch, heavy footsteps approaching. Someone was coming, and Daniel realized the hunters might already know he was here. The forest grew colder. Every breath Daniel took felt heavy in his chest. The girl clung to his sleeve as if letting go would mean death. He could still hear the faint groans of the alien woman caught in the savage trap, but his focus shifted to the darkness pressing in from all sides. Snap. Crack. Branches moved again, somewhere close. Something walked with purpose, heavy and cruel. Daniel pulled the child behind him, his rifle raised, eyes scanning the tree line. His soldier instinct screamed that danger was closing. He whispered, without turning his head, "Stay low. Don't move unless I tell you." The girl's golden eyes widened, shimmering with fear. "It's them. It's the hunters. They'll hurt you. They'll hurt her." Her small voice trembled. Daniel's grip on his weapon tightened. He had fought in human wars, faced men with rifles and machines, but this was different. He was deep inside alien land, far from backup, and yet, there was no thought of retreat, not when a mother bled before him, not when a child trusted him. Then a shape emerged from the shadows. It wasn't human. The figure was tall, its body wrapped in armor made of bones and dark hides, its face hidden behind a mask shaped like a beast's skull. In its hands, a cruel spear dripped with fresh blood. The hunter's head tilted when it saw Daniel. A low growl echoing through the mask, more shapes followed, slipping between the trees like shadows come alive. 4 of them, surrounding the clearing. Their eyes glowed faint red, and their cruel laughter echoed like wolves circling prey. Daniel swallowed. His chances were slim. 1 human against 4 armed hunters. His finger rested on the trigger, but he knew his bullets might not be enough. One of the hunters spoke, his voice rough and mocking. "A human, wandering in our forest, how rare, how foolish." He tapped the spear against the snare holding the alien woman. The metal twisted tighter, and she cried out, weak and broken. The child screamed, "Stop! Don't hurt her!" She threw herself toward her mother, but Daniel pulled her back, shielding her with his body. The hunter laughed again. "Ah, the little whelp found a pet soldier. How cute! Shall we take his skin?" Daniel's heart pounded, but he stood firm. He raised his rifle, aiming square at the hunter's chest. His voice was calm, steady. "Let them go." The forest fell silent for a moment. The hunters exchanged glances. Then laughter erupted, cruel and sharp. "Human dares to command us?" One mocked. "He bleeds for her already." Another sneered, pointing at Daniel's hands cut open from trying to force the snare. "Perhaps he wishes to die with them." The girl tugged at Daniel's arm, whispering, "Please don't fight. They'll kill you too." Her tears stained the moss, but Daniel didn't move. His body was solid, a shield between her and the monsters. Inside, Daniel's mind raced. He could fire, kill one maybe, but then the others would strike. He needed time, a chance, any opening, so he tried words instead. "You're hunters, aren't you? Then prove it. Prove your skill. Fight me fair." The lead hunter tilted his head. The bone mask grinned in the firelight of their cruel eyes. "Fair? Against prey? Foolish human, we don't need fair." And with that, the trap pulsed again, sinking its teeth deeper into the alien woman's body. Her cry cut through Daniel's chest like a blade. The girl screamed, trying to run to her mother, but Daniel grabbed her and pulled her behind him again. "You want prey?" Daniel shouted, his voice rising. "Then you'll have to take me first." The hunters snarled. 2 stepped forward, their weapons raised. The clearing shook with their movements. Daniel's muscles tensed. His mind screamed to move, to fight, but the child's hands dug into his back. "Don't leave us," she whispered, her voice small but filled with faith. And in that instant, Daniel felt something shift. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about trust, about a promise. This child had chosen him, and he would not fail her. He fired. The shot cracked through the night, striking one hunter in the chest. The beast stumbled back, roaring in pain. The others hissed in fury, closing in fast. Daniel rolled, dragging the child with him. He shouted, "Stay down!" as he turned his rifle toward the second hunter. Bullets sparked against armor, breaking pieces of bone. The hunter snarled and swung his spear, the sharp blade slicing air just inches from Daniel's head. The fight exploded in chaos. The girl screamed for her mother. The woman cried in pain, and Daniel's world narrowed to survival. He had no backup, no way out. But his heart burned with something the hunters could never understand. He wasn't fighting for glory or for sport. He was fighting because a child's voice had begged him, because someone had believed in him and he would not let them down. But as the clash raged, more eyes appeared in the shadows. Dozens of them. The hunters were not alone. Daniel realized with a cold shock, this was only the beginning. The clearing burned with tension. The alien mother writhed in pain inside the savage trap, while hunters circled with cruel grins beneath their bone masks. The human soldier Daniel stood firm, his weapon shaking slightly in his grip, not from fear but from the weight of the impossible choice before him. He could keep fighting the hunters or he could free the woman. But with every passing heartbeat, the trap tightened. Every groan of its living metal echoed like a clock ticking down her life. The alien girl's cries tore at him. She knelt beside her mother now, trying with her tiny hands to pull the twisted spikes apart. Her fingers bled, yet she didn't stop. Tears ran down her glowing face. "Please, human, please save her, please." Daniel dropped to his knees beside the trap, his eyes darting over the strange design. The device was not just metal. It pulsed faintly, almost alive. The twisted jaws were powered by alien energy, closing tighter each time the woman shifted. It wasn't a snare for animals, it was made for suffering. "Hold still," Daniel told the woman firmly. His voice was steady even as he bled from his own cuts. "The more you fight it, the more it feeds." Her golden eyes flickered open, dim with pain. "You should not waste yourself for me. Human, you will die here." But Daniel ignored her words. His mind sharpened, his soldier training kicking in. He studied the mechanics. There, between the jagged steel and bone, a central lock pulsing faint green. "If I break this," he muttered, "the whole thing might collapse." He reached into his pack, pulling free a combat knife. His rifle lay across his lap for quick reach. He pressed the blade into the twisting lock. Sparks flew. The trap hissed as if alive, shifting violently. The hunters roared with laughter, circling closer. One pointed at him mockingly. "Look at the brave soldier, bleeding for meat, that is, not his own." Another banged his spear against a tree. "Break it, human, break it and die with her. That snare drinks the blood of those who fight it." Daniel ignored them, grinding his teeth. Sweat ran down his face as the knife screeched. Against alien alloy, the girl clung to his shoulder, whispering through sobs, "Please, please, please." Then the trap struck back. The lock burst open like a living thing, a sharp shard slashing Daniel's arm. Blood poured down. He gasped, but did not stop. His knife dug deeper, forcing the lock apart. The alien woman screamed as the trap clenched. Once more, the spikes tearing at her skin, Daniel's jaw tightened. "Stay with me," he growled at last. With a violent snap, part of the lock broke. One side of the snare released with a hiss. The pressure on the alien woman's body eased. Her breath came in sharp, ragged gasps. For the first time, Daniel felt hope. He could save her, he could actually do it, but the hunters did not allow silence. With a snarl, one charged forward. Spear raised high, Daniel spun, knife still in hand, and slashed across the attacker's leg. The hunter roared, stumbling back. Bones cracked under his armor. Daniel grabbed his rifle again, firing 2 shots into the chest of another charging beast. The alien staggered, smoke rising from the shattered bone mask, but still it didn't fall. These creatures were strong, too strong. The alien girl screamed, throwing herself over her mother's body to shield her. "Stop! Don't hurt her!" Daniel fired again, forcing the hunters to step back. His chest heaved, his arm burned with pain. The broken snare hissed and pulsed behind him like a living wound. The lead hunter spoke, his voice deep and cruel. "Human, you bleed for those who are not yours. You waste your life, you do not belong here. Daniel spat blood, his eyes burning. Maybe not, he growled. But no one deserves to die like this. The hunter's laughter echoed, cold and sharp. They moved in closer, circling. Daniel knew he could not hold them off forever, not with a child and a wounded woman to protect, but then something shifted. The alien woman, weak and trembling, raised her hand. Her palm glowed faint gold, strange symbols shimmering faintly. Across her skin, she pressed it to the broken part of the snare. Her energy flowed. The trap hissed violently, smoke spilling from its cracks. Daniel's eyes widened. You can control it? Her voice was faint, almost breaking. Not control. Resist. For a moment, the hunters froze, their laughter silenced, their eyes fixed on her, fury burning in their red glow. She dares. One hissed. She resists. The chain of the hunt, another growled. Daniel realized suddenly. The snare wasn't just a trap, it was sacred to them, a weapon of control. To see it broken, resisted, enraged them, and that rage was about to fall on him. He grabbed the child, pushing her behind him again, his voice low, steady. Stay close. Don't let go. The girl's eyes filled with tears. You'll die if you fight them, she whispered. Daniel glanced back, meeting her gaze. His face was pale, his arm dripping blood, yet his eyes were hard, unshaken. Not while you need me, he said simply. The hunters roared as one, their spears raised, rushing forward. The clearing exploded into chaos again. But Daniel's heart was steady. He had broken the trap once. He would break it fully. He would save them or he would fall trying. And in that moment, in the cold alien night, one thing was certain. This human was no prey. The clearing shook with violence. Daniel's rifle barked fire, hunters roared in rage, and the snare hissed, like a living beast that refused to release its prey. The alien woman's body trembled as she tried to hold back the trap's power with her glowing hand, but her strength was fading. The alien girl screamed beside Daniel. She's dying. Please, human, save her. Her voice tore into him like a blade. He fired another shot, forcing one hunter to stumble back, then dropped to his knees. His hands were bleeding, his muscles shaking, but he grabbed the broken lock again, the snare, resisted, its twisted teeth dug deeper. The woman cried out in pain, golden eyes flickering shut. Daniel shouted over the noise, "Stay with me! Don't you quit on me now." His knife wedged into the glowing lock, sparks flying. The trap fought back like it was alive, metal grinding, bone creaking. It seemed to sense his effort, tightening harder around the woman's chest. Her breathing grew ragged, faint. The hunters circled closer. Their cruel voices mocked him. "Look at him struggle," one growled. "Human bleeds for nothing." Another sneered. "When he fails, we'll take his skin with hers." Daniel ignored them, sweat dripping from his brow. His vision blurred from blood loss. His body screamed at him to stop. But his heart roared louder. He could not let a child watch her mother die. The girl clutched his arm, her tiny hands trembling. "Please don't stop, please save her, please." Her trust burned in him like fire. His teeth clenched. And with a roar, he forced the knife deeper into the alien lock. His arms shook as veins bulged against torn skin. Sparks sprayed into the air. Crack! The lock shattered further. One side of the snare splitting open. The spikes pulled back slightly, loosening their grip. The alien woman gasped, her first full breath in minutes. The girl cried out with joy. "You did it! Human, you did it!" But Daniel knew it wasn't over. The snare was still half alive, half closed, and the hunters had seen enough. They rushed, their bone spears glinting with savage light. Daniel swung his rifle up, firing point blank. One hunter dropped with a roar, smoke rising from his shattered mask. The others howled with fury, charging faster. Daniel kicked the snare with all his strength, trying to split it open more, but it held tight. He felt his ribs ache as a spear slammed into his chest plate, throwing him back. Pain exploded through his body. He hit the ground hard, his rifle skidding away. The alien girl screamed, rushing toward him. "No!" Daniel coughed blood but pushed himself up. His vision swam, but he reached for the broken trap again. His knife was gone, his weapon gone. He had only his bare hands now. The hunters closed in. Their heavy footsteps shook the moss. Their laughter cut through the night, but Daniel ignored them. His fingers dug into the alien lock, blood poured from his palms as the metal sliced him. His arms trembled, his shoulders felt like breaking, but he pulled with everything he had left. "Come on," he growled, his voice raw. "You will not win. Not tonight." The trap screamed as if alive, bone snapping, metal twisting. For a moment it resisted. Then with a deafening snap, the lock shattered. The snare collapsed, its spikes falling limp like dead claws. The alien woman rolled free, gasping in shock. Blood covered her body. But she was alive. Alive. The girl fell onto her mother, sobbing into her chest. "Mom, you're free. You're free." The hunters froze for a moment. Their red eyes widened behind bone masks. One snarled in fury. "Impossible. No one breaks the sacred snare." Daniel stood shakily, his hands dripping blood. His chest heaved, but his eyes burned with fire. "Get used to it," he spat. The hunters roared and charged as one. Their fury no longer cold. It was wild, savage, unstoppable. Daniel staggered forward, placing himself between the mother and child. His body swayed from exhaustion, but he raised his fists anyway. His voice cracked, but his will was steel. "You'll go through me first," the lead hunter snarled. "Gladly." They lunged, bone spears thrusting, claws flashing. Daniel braced. But then something strange happened. The alien woman, still lying on the moss, lifted her trembling hands. Golden light surged across her skin. Symbols burned brighter than before. She spoke. Words Daniel did not understand, ancient and powerful. The ground trembled, the shattered snare began to melt, its living metal screaming as it dissolved into smoke. The hunters stumbled back in shock, their eyes wide. "She dares to destroy it," one cried. "She spits on the hunt." Another howled. The woman's light spread, wrapping around Daniel and her child like a shield. The hunters' spears cracked against it, breaking like twigs. Their fury turned. To panic, Daniel stood tall even as blood dripped from his arms. His body was broken, but his heart was alive, stronger than ever. The girl looked up at him with wide eyes. "You saved her. You saved us." But Daniel knew it wasn't over. Not yet. The hunters had not fled. Their numbers were too many. Their rage too deep. This was only the beginning of a bigger fight. The night forest was no longer quiet. The trees shook with movement. Branches snapping, shadows shifting. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Daniel could feel it in his bones. More were coming, many more. The alien girl clung to his leg, her golden eyes wide with fear. Her mother lay weak on the moss, glowing. Light fading from her trembling hands, Daniel had freed her from the snare, but at what cost? His arms bled, his ribs ached, his rifle was nearly empty. Then he heard it, the sound of horns, low, guttural, echoing through the forest like the call of predators. And from the darkness, shapes appeared, not four this time, but a dozen, maybe. More hunters poured into the clearing, armored in bone and hide, their red eyes glowing like fireflies of death. The girl whimpered, hiding behind Daniel. "There are too many." Daniel set his jaw, gripping his rifle with bloody hands. His voice was steady, though his body shook. "Stay behind me." The lead hunter, larger than the rest, stepped forward. His mask was carved with cruel fangs, and his spear glowed faintly with strange fire. His voice was deep, mocking. "So, the human thinks himself strong. He broke the sacred snare. He dares to shame us." The other hunters laughed, sharp and cruel. The sound made the girl flinch, and her mother close her eyes in despair. Daniel raised his weapon, his gaze hard. "She's free now. You'll have to go through me if you want them." The leader tilted his head, amused. "Through you? One man against the hunt?" Foolish prey. The circle of hunters closed in, their spears tapping against the ground in rhythm. Thump, 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 like a drumbeat of death. Daniel's heart pounded. He checked his ammo. Too few bullets, not enough to win. His knife was broken, his body weakened, but none of that mattered. He thought of the girl's trembling hands, her desperate voice, her mother's pain. He had promised himself he wouldn't walk away. Not this time. Not ever. The first hunter lunged, spear flashing. Daniel rolled aside, firing. The bullet shattered its mask, the beast collapsing in a howl. The others roared, charging all at once. The clearing exploded in chaos. Daniel ducked a spear thrust, slamming the butt of his rifle into another hunter's jaw. The crack echoed. Bone shattered, but claws raked across his shoulder, tearing his armor. Pain seared through him. He kicked the attacker back, pulling the trigger again. Another body fell, but for every one he dropped, 2 more took its place. The girl cried out, covering her ears. "Stop. Please stop." Her voice broke with terror. Her mother dragged herself weakly toward her, trying to shield her daughter even as blood stained the moss beneath her. Daniel stood like a wall between them and the pack. His chest heaved, his vision blurred. Yet, his arms moved with stubborn fury. He fought not with strength alone, but with something deeper. Every strike, every shot carried the weight of his promise. He would not let them die. The leader watched him, eyes glowing with twisted admiration. "Strange prey," he growled. "You fight as if they are yours, why human? Why waste your life for them?" Daniel spat blood, firing again, his voice cracked but steady. "Because no one deserves to be hunted. Not her, not the child, not anyone," the hunters hissed, anger twisting their faces. Then suddenly, the alien woman raised her trembling hand again. Golden light flared weakly, forming a faint shield around her daughter. The glow spread thinly across Daniel's back. His wounds burned less for a moment. His strength steadied. The leader snarled, pointing. "His spear! The witch dares aid him! Kill her!" 2 hunters broke from the pack, rushing toward the mother and child. Daniel's heart froze. He spun, firing his last bullets. Both hunters fell before reaching them. His rifle clicked empty. Silence for a heartbeat, then the hunters roared louder. Their fury now absolute. Daniel dropped the empty rifle, gripping a broken spear from the ground. His hands bled against the jagged weapon, his voice low, steady. "Then I'll fight with this." The leader laughed, cruel and booming. "Good, human. Show me your final strength before we tear you apart." The pack lunged again. Daniel swung the spear, blocking, countering. His arms screamed in pain, but he fought like a storm. Bones cracked under his strikes. His body moved with desperation and fire. The alien girl clutched her mother, watching. With wide eyes, her small voice whispered, "Don't die, human, please don't die." Daniel staggered, blood running down his side. The leader loomed over him now, towering like a beast of nightmare, his spear lifted high, glowing with fire. Daniel gripped his broken weapon tighter, breathing hard. His knees trembled, but he stood tall. His voice came low, filled with fire. "If you want them, you'll have to kill me first." The leader's spear came down with deadly force. And then the forest itself answered. A sudden horn echoed, different from the hunter's cruel sound. It was sharp, strong, commanding. The hunters froze, their red eyes flickering with hesitation. From the shadows, more figures emerged, but not hunters. Armed warriors with banners glowing blue. Their armor carried the same silver markings as the alien girl and her mother. Their blades gleamed in the night. The girl gasped, "Our people. They came." The hunters snarled, stepping back. The leader's fury turned to frustration. He hissed at Daniel, "Another time, human. Another hunt." And with that, the hunters melted back into the forest, their laughter fading into the night. Daniel dropped to his knees, the broken spear falling from his bloody hands. His chest heaved, his body swayed on the edge of collapse. But the girl's small arms wrapped around him, holding tight. "You saved us," she whispered, tears falling on his armor. "You saved my mom. You saved me." Daniel closed his eyes, his body heavy, but a faint smile touched his lips. He had survived the hunt, for now, but deep inside, he knew this was not the end. The hunters would return, and when they did, the fight would only be greater. Daniel's breath came in ragged gasps. His arms trembled, his armor was torn, and blood dripped onto the mossy ground. The hunters had retreated into the forest when the alien warriors appeared, but the threat was not over. He could feel it. Their red eyes still burned in the shadows, watching, waiting. The alien warriors moved quickly, surrounding the mother and child. Their blue banners shimmered faintly. marking them as protectors of this land. One knelt beside the injured woman, pressing glowing herbs to her wounds. Another lifted a curved blade, scanning the dark trees. The little girl clung to Daniel, refusing to let go, her golden eyes wide, with fear but shining with trust. "Don't leave, human," she whispered. "Don't let them take us again." Daniel placed a bloody hand gently on her shoulder. "I'm not leaving. Not while they're still out there." The alien warriors looked at him strangely, some with suspicion, others with surprise. A human soldier standing between them and the savage hunters was not something they expected. One finally spoke, his voice firm. "Human, you should run. Back to your kind. This fight is not yours." Daniel turned, his eyes blazing despite his exhaustion. "It became mine the moment I heard her cry." He nodded at the girl, who clutched his arm tightly. "And I won't walk away now." Before more could be said, the forest howled. The hunters returned, their horns screaming in rage. Dozens poured from the trees, far more than before. The leader strode at the front, his spear glowing with dark fire. His voice thundered, "The hunt is not over. We will take back what is ours." The alien warriors tightened their ranks, blades drawn, shields raised. The injured woman weakly tried to stand, but Daniel pressed her back down. "Stay down. You've done enough." The girl buried her face against him, whispering through tears. "They'll kill us all." Daniel stood, pulling a broken spear from the ground. His rifle was empty, but his will was stronger than ever. His voice rose over the chaos, steady and unshaken. "Not if we fight back together." The alien warriors glanced at him, surprised. Again a human speaking like one of their own, his words carried weight. A fire stirred in their eyes. The hunters roared and charged. The ground shook with their fury. The battle began. Daniel moved like a storm. His broken spear flashed in his hands. He struck low, sweeping one hunter's legs, then drove the jagged tip into its chest. The beast fell, roaring. Another lunged, claws flashing. Daniel caught its arm, twisted, and slammed his elbow into its mask until bone shattered. Pain tore through his ribs, but he didn't stop. He fought with everything left in him, rage, courage, and the will to protect. The alien warriors fought beside him now, their blue blades clashing against bone spears. Sparks lit the night. Blood spilled across the moss. The forest echoed with screams and war cries. The hunters were fierce, but Daniel was fiercer. He fought, with no thought of survival, only of keeping the girl and her mother safe. Every strike he made was for them. Every roar from his chest carried the fire of humanity itself. The leader crashed through the fight, towering over all. His spear blazed, slamming into the ground, sending a shockwave that knocked warriors back. Daniel staggered but stood tall. His chest heaved, his knuckles bled, but his eyes locked on the leader. The hunter sneered, "Human, you still stand? Foolish, I will tear you apart." Daniel spat blood, gripping his weapon tighter. "Try me." They clashed. The leader swung his blazing spear. Daniel dodged barely, the heat searing across his face. He thrust his broken weapon, sparks flying. As it struck against the hunter's armor, the leader laughed. "Weak, too weak." But Daniel's strikes grew sharper, faster, fueled not by strength but by will. He ducked under another swing, driving the jagged spear point deep into the hunter's side. The beast roared in fury, slamming a massive hand into Daniel's chest. The human flew back, crashing against a tree. His body screamed in pain, his breath ragged. But as the leader charged again, Daniel forced himself up. Every part of him wanted to collapse, but he thought of the girl's voice, her small hands, clutching his arm, her cry for help, and he refused to fall. With a roar, Daniel ripped a broken shard of the alien snare from the ground. The twisted metal glowed faint green, pulsing with energy. He spun as the leader struck, driving the shard straight into the hunter's chest. The forest exploded with light. The shard pulsed, tearing through bone and hide. The leader screamed, his fire spear dropping from his hands as he staggered. Daniel pressed harder, every muscle in his body screaming. For her, he roared with one final push. The shard pierced through. The leader collapsed, his mask shattering. Red eyes fading into nothing. The battlefield fell silent for a heartbeat. The other hunters froze, shock rippling through them. Then slowly, they stepped back, growling. Their courage broke, and one by one they melted into the dark forest, vanishing into shadow. The alien warriors raised their blades high, shouting victory cries. The little girl ran to Daniel, throwing her arms around. Him? Her small voice sobbed with relief. You did it. You beat him. You saved us. Daniel dropped to one knee, exhaustion finally overtaking him. His chest heaved, his vision blurred, but a faint smile tugged at his lips. He whispered, Not me. Us. We fought back together. The alien mother looked at him with weak, grateful eyes, her voice trembling. Human, you are not prey. You are protector. Daniel's gaze hardened. He had won tonight, but he knew it was not over. The hunters would return, stronger, fiercer. The fight was far from finished, but one thing was clear. Humanity had shown its spirit. And in this alien world, the hunters had learned a new fear. The forest was quiet at last. The echoes of battle faded into the night. Only the sound of heavy breathing and the crackle of broken branches remained. Daniel knelt on the moss, his body torn and bleeding. His hands shook as he leaned on the shattered shard of the snare. His chest rose and fell in ragged gasps. The hunters were gone, melted into the darkness. Their leader's broken body lay still on the ground. The air smelled of blood, smoke, and iron. The little alien girl rushed to Daniel's side, her golden eyes were wide with tears but glowing with pride. She wrapped her small arms around him, whispering, You saved us. You really saved us. Daniel let out a weak laugh, his voice hoarse. Not me alone. You kept me fighting, kid. He patted her head gently, though his hand left a smear of blood on her soft hair. The alien warriors stood in silence, staring at him. Some still gripped their weapons, unsure what to make of the human who had fought, like one of their own, a human who had faced the hunters and lived. The alien mother struggled to sit up, her body trembling but her eyes burning with gratitude. She looked at Daniel, her voice weak but strong enough to carry meaning. Human, you broke the unbreakable snare. You fought the endless hunt. You are not prey. You are protector. Daniel met her gaze, his breath still heavy. I just did what needed to be done. The warriors glanced at one another, whispers moving through them. A human saving their own, fighting beside them. It was not something their people had seen before. One warrior finally stepped forward, bowing his head slightly. Tonight, you fought not as outsider but as one of us. His voice was deep with respect. You have our thanks, human. But Daniel shook his head, glancing at the child who clung to him. Don't thank me. Thank her. She's the reason I didn't walk away. She's the reason her mother is alive. The girl looked up at him, her cheeks glowing with tears. I knew you wouldn't leave us, she whispered, her tiny hands clutching his armor tightly. You're my protector now. Daniel's chest tightened at her words. He had fought wars before, for commanders, for orders. But this was different. This fight was for trust, for innocence, for a promise he didn't even know he had made until he heard her cry. The alien warriors began tending to the mother, binding her wounds with glowing herbs, preparing to carry her back to their village. The leader of the warriors turned to Daniel. You are wounded as well. Come with us. You need healing. Daniel tried to stand, his legs shaking under his weight, but the girl held him tighter, as if afraid he would vanish if he moved. He smiled, faintly ruffling her dark hair. I'll come, don't worry. As they began moving through the forest, the girl refused to let go of his hand. Her tiny fingers wrapped around his bloodied palm. Her steps were small, but her spirit was fierce. Daniel felt her warmth through the cold night, and for the first time in a long while he felt a strange peace, but deep inside he knew it was not over. The hunters had been defeated, but not destroyed. They would return, stronger, hungrier. They had tasted human defiance, and they would not forget. The alien mother, carried on a stretcher of glowing vines, lifted her head weakly and spoke to him. Her voice was soft, but her words struck deep. They will come again, human. They never forget those who defy the hunt. You have made yourself their enemy. Daniel nodded, his eyes hard. Then let them come. His voice was steady, a spark of fire in his tone. I won't run. Not from them. The girl squeezed his hand tighter. her small voice breaking through the silence. "And you won't fight alone. You have me now. You have us." Her words warmed him more than the fire of battle ever could. As they reached the edge of the forest, the alien village lights glimmered in the distance, lanterns glowing blue against the dark sky. The warriors led the way, but Daniel walked in the middle, the girl at his side, her mother carried safely behind. For the first time, Daniel felt the eyes of a people not filled with suspicion, but with respect. A human had walked into the savage woods and returned with their wounded. A human had broken the sacred snare of the hunters. A human had fought beside them. The bond was forged in blood, in pain, in fire. That night, as Daniel sat by the village fire, the girl curled up beside him, refusing to let go of his arm. He looked down at her small face, peaceful in sleep, and whispered softly, "You're safe now." The alien mother watched from her resting place, her golden eyes filled with gratitude, but also with a shadow of worry. She knew the hunters would not forget. She knew darker days were ahead, but she also knew one truth. Humanity had entered their struggle, and because of that, there was an hope. Daniel stared into the flames, his body broken but his spirit unshaken. The hunters thought him prey, but tonight they had learned something they would never forget. A human was not prey, a human was protector, and when the hunters returned, he would be ready.